Inmate transfer to Angola Prison. Fast, sharp cuts. The sound of a prison door slamming shut echoes. Flashes of shadowy figures walking down long, concrete hallways. Heavy footsteps pound against the cold, unforgiving floor. The camera zooms in quickly on a steel door, the lock turning with a loud click. The tension is palpable. The sound of deep breaths fills the silence before the door creaks open, revealing a dimly lit cell block. Suddenly, the screen flashes white. Inmate transfer. Angola Prison. The camera jerks forward, as if something's about to happen, but it doesn't. A guard's voice breaks through the tension. "Pack your things. You're going to Angola." The words hit hard, like a punch to the gut. What does it mean to be sent to Angola Prison? The answer is terrifying. For anyone who's been there, it's a fate worse than death. The road to Angola. The Louisiana State Penitentiary, known as Angola, is one of the most notorious maximum security prisons in the United States. But how does an inmate get sent there? It's not just a transfer, it's a life sentence to a place where survival is a daily battle. Some of the worst criminals in America are housed here. Its history is scarred with stories of violence, isolation, and despair. But what makes Angola different? Why is it feared? The reputation of Angola stretches far beyond its physical walls. This is where the worst of the worst are sent, where the most dangerous individuals are kept under lock and key. Some of these men have done unimaginable things. Others have made mistakes that they can't take back, now serving their lives in solitary confinement, waiting for death to come. But what really happens when an inmate is transferred to Angola? The transfer process. For those chosen to be transferred to Angola, it starts with a phone call, a message from the state. No warning, no real explanation. The guards arrive in a flurry of activity, their boots hitting the ground with heavy determination. The inmate has little time to prepare. The guards tell them to gather their things, but what can a man really take to a place like this? A change of clothes? A few personal items? Nothing can prepare you for what comes next. Inmates are shackled, hands cuffed, feet shackled, and often blindfolded. There's no room for comfort, no room for questioning. You're being moved, and you don't get a say in where. The bus ride is a long one, and the transfer itself is done in secrecy. The destination is clear, but the emotional toll is heavy. As the inmates are transferred, the sounds of the bus tires on the cracked asphalt become the last shred of normalcy they'll ever know. Inside Angola, the air is thick with tension. Inmates talk about their arrival, with a mix of fear and dread. The moment they step off the transport bus, their lives change forever. Angola is not just another prison, it's a punishment. First impressions. Angola doesn't just house inmates, it consumes them. The prison is isolated, deep in the Louisiana countryside, a place surrounded by swamps and the eerie quiet of rural life. When they arrive, they don't see a welcoming committee. They're met with cold, emotionless eyes and a silence so heavy, it's suffocating. Inmates are immediately escorted into the heart of Angola. The cell blocks are arranged in a way that isolates everyone, further reinforcing the idea of imprisonment. The buildings are old, with cracked walls that seem to whisper stories of suffering and broken lives. They are shown their new home. A small cell, barely big enough for a man to stretch out in. Metal bars, concrete floors, and a bed that feels more like a slab of stone than a place to sleep. But it's not just the physical conditions that make Angola terrifying, it's the culture of the prison. Here, everything is ruled by violence. Respect is earned through force. Survival is a daily game of dominance and submission. For newcomers, it's a hard reality that often takes years to learn. Life in Angola. Life at Angola is unlike anything they've experienced before. Inmates live under a strict set of rules, a hierarchy defined by violence and fear. The guards enforce these rules with an iron fist. There's little room for rebellion, and even less room for kindness. The food is sparse, and what little is provided is often of poor quality. Inmates talk about the hunger that gnaws at them every day. They learn to fight for what they have, whether it's their meals, their rights, or their dignity. But it's not just the physical deprivation that hurts. It's the isolation. Angola has one of the highest rates of solitary confinement in the country. Those sent to solitary are often left there for years, sometimes decades, without contact from the outside world. It's a punishment designed not just to isolate, but to break them mentally. This is where many men lose themselves. They become shadows of their former selves, lost in a hell that never ends. The consequences. Being transferred to Angola is often the last chapter in an inmate's life behind bars. There are no second chances here. For those who've already been serving life sentences, it can feel like the end of hope. The punishment for minor infractions can be severe. Fights break out daily, and the guards aren't always there to stop them. For those who don't fit into the violent system of the prison, the consequences can be brutal. But Angola is also home to a strange sense of pride. Despite the violence, the brutal conditions, and the isolation, some men find strength in the most unexpected places. They form alliances, forge bonds in the chaos, and sometimes, they even find redemption. But for the majority, Angola is a place where escape isn't possible, not just because of the walls, but because of the psychological toll it takes on the mind. Angola is a place of unimaginable hardship. It's a prison where only the toughest survive, and even then, survival comes at a steep price. The men sent there are often broken before they even arrive. But even in a place like this, there are stories of strength, of resilience, and of the human spirit refusing to be completely crushed. The journey to Angola isn't just a physical one, it's a journey into darkness, a journey that leaves deep emotional scars. For those who are sent there, life becomes about one thing: surviving the nightmare. The shackles of time. The clock moves differently at Angola. The hours drag, stretching out into what feels like days, weeks, or even years. For the inmates, time is an enemy that never relents. Days blend into each other as they're stuck in a cycle of monotony and despair. In Angola, the concept of freedom becomes a distant dream, a forgotten whisper. For the new arrivals, every day is a struggle to find purpose. Some try to make sense of the brutal system, hoping to find a way to fit in, to survive. Others reject it completely, but in doing so, they often find themselves breaking down mentally. The toll it takes on the mind can be just as destructive as the physical violence that runs rampant through the prison halls. The older inmates, the ones who have been here for years, have long accepted their fate. They've learned to move in the shadows, avoid confrontation, and never show weakness. They've mastered the art of survival in Angola's brutal system. But for the newcomers, the path isn't always clear. In Angola, it's not just the guards that keep the inmates in check, it's the inmates themselves. The prison operates under an unspoken code of silence, where loyalty and fear are the currency of survival. Breaking that code can cost an inmate everything. The prison economy. Angola has its own economy, one built on survival. For most of the men here, the only way to make it through the day is by finding a way to trade. There are no luxury items here, everything is a commodity. Cigarettes, food, books, and even simple items like soap are bartered for protection, favors, or sometimes, just a bit of peace. Inmates are often forced to turn to the prison economy just to maintain some semblance of dignity. One inmate might trade a pack of cigarettes for a meal, another might offer protection for something as simple as a can of soda. But this system isn't fair, and it doesn't give everyone an equal chance. Inmates who are new to the system are often at the bottom of the totem pole. They are vulnerable to exploitation, and without a network of allies, they can quickly find themselves prey to the more dangerous elements of the prison population. For those who come from the outside, the first few weeks in Angola are disorienting. They're forced to learn quickly how to navigate the complex and often hostile world that exists behind bars. Some make it, others don't. The guards and the system. The guards at Angola are not just the prison's enforcers, they are part of the system. They've been hardened by years of dealing with violent criminals, and they carry that weight on their shoulders every day. But even within the ranks of the guards, there's a clear divide. Some are brutal, enjoying the power that comes with controlling lives behind bars. Others are simply trying to survive their shift without drawing attention. But the true horror of Angola isn't just in the violence, it's in the indifference. The The system operates like a machine, where every man, whether guard or inmate, becomes a cog in the wheel. There's little compassion, little room for understanding. The prison is run by fear, and fear keeps everyone in line. The solitary experience. Perhaps the most notorious part of Angola's reputation lies in its use of solitary confinement. Angola's solitary units are a world unto themselves. For those sent here, the experience is a nightmare of isolation. The walls are thick, the air stale, and the light dim. The sound of a distant guard's footsteps is the only thing that breaks the oppressive silence. Inmates are locked in small, barren cells with little to no contact with the outside world. They are given a thin mattress, a blanket, and sometimes a book, but that's it. For weeks, months, or even years, they have nothing but the noise of their own thoughts. Many inmates break under the weight of solitary confinement. Some lose their sense of time. Others become disoriented, struggling with feelings of depression, anxiety, and hopelessness. For those in solitary for long periods, the damage is often irreversible. When they are finally released back into the general population, they are shells of the men they once were. In Angola, solitary confinement is a punishment worse than any physical beating. It is a punishment designed to break the spirit, to strip away everything that makes a man human. For those sent to Angola, it is a fate that may be more cruel than anything they've experienced before. Survival. As the days pass, survival becomes the primary goal for those who remain in Angola. It's not just about getting through the day, it's about maintaining a sense of control, of dignity. For some, survival means finding strength in numbers, forming alliances with other inmates who share the same goal. But trust is a fragile thing in Angola. Betrayal can come at any moment, and once broken, it is nearly impossible to rebuild. The prison system is full of men who have lost everything: friends, families, hope, and they'll stop at nothing to survive. For those who manage to survive the first few months, the worst isn't over. Every day is a struggle. Every night brings new dangers, new threats. Angola is not a place where you can relax or let your guard down. Inmates are constantly reminded that they are just one mistake away from losing everything. The final years. For the men who have been at Angola for years, the final years are often spent in a haze. Many of them have accepted their fate, knowing that they will never leave this place alive. But there are still those who hold on to hope, no matter how faint it may seem. They find ways to make peace with their circumstances, even if it means giving up on the idea of freedom. The final years are marked by a sense of resignation, but also by an eerie camaraderie. Inmates who have spent decades together in Angola begin to form deep bonds. Some even look out for each other, despite the harshness of the system. But Angola's grip is tight, and for most, there is no escape. Even as they grow older, even as they age and become frail, the prison's hold on them never weakens. In Angola, time does not heal all wounds. It only deepens them. Angola is not just a prison, it is a place where hope is suffocated, where dreams die in the shadow of its walls. For those transferred here, it is a sentence beyond punishment. It is a life sentence to a place that never lets you go. The men who are sent to Angola may have committed crimes, but the real punishment is the prison itself. Angola is a machine that grinds down everything in its path. It leaves no room for redemption, no room for forgiveness. For those who find themselves trapped within these walls, the only question left is, how long can you survive before it consumes you completely? The cycle of violence. Angola is a place where violence is not just a daily occurrence. It is built into the very fabric of the prison. It's ingrained in the system, like a part of its DNA. The guards, the inmates, even the walls, seem to demand conflict. For new inmates, the cycle of violence is often inevitable. They arrive with the hope that they can avoid it, that they can carve out some semblance of peace within the chaos. But Angola doesn't allow for peace. The moment you step inside, you are forced to learn quickly. Weakness is not tolerated. For many, the only way to survive is to become violent, to defend yourself at all costs. Some inmates join gangs for protection. Others rely on their wits to navigate the complex social structure of the prison. But no matter the approach, there's always the looming threat of violence. Fights break out over seemingly small things. A look, a misstep, an unintended slight. Sometimes, it's the guards who provoke the violence, using their power to push inmates past their breaking points. They know that when the system is violent, it's easier to control everyone. The fight for dignity. In Angola, every inmate is fighting for the same thing: dignity. It's all they have left. They may have lost their freedom, their families, their futures, but their dignity is something that no one can take away, unless they let it. Some inmates try to hold on to that dignity by following the prison's rules, staying out of trouble, and doing their time as quietly as possible. But the system doesn't reward quiet submission. To survive in Angola, you must constantly be aware, constantly watchful, always prepared for the next confrontation. Others fight back. They refuse to be broken, even when the world around them is intent on doing so. They fight for respect, for recognition, for something to remind them that they are still human. These are the men who become the unofficial leaders of the prison, the ones who command respect, not through fear, but through strength of will. But even these men know that dignity in Angola is fleeting. The system does not allow for anyone to hold on to it for long. Eventually, the brutality of the prison wears everyone down. It's a matter of time before even the strongest, the bravest, or the most resilient succumb to the pressure. Family and isolation. For many inmates at Angola, the most painful part of their sentence isn't the years spent behind bars, it's the years spent away from their families. Angola is not just a prison, it's a world unto itself. The families of the inmates are forced to live outside, disconnected from the harsh realities their loved ones face every day. Visitation is sparse. The prison's location deep in rural Louisiana makes it difficult for families to come and visit regularly. The emotional toll on both the inmates and their families is immense. For the men inside, each visit from a loved one is a rare light in an otherwise dark existence. It's a chance to reconnect with the world they once knew, even if only for a brief moment. But these visits are never easy. The physical barriers of the prison, the bars, the guards, the heavy security, serve as constant reminders of what they've lost. Inmates often speak of how they feel more isolated after a visit, reminded of the life they can never return to. For those in solitary confinement, the isolation is even more brutal. No visits, no contact with the outside world, no communication with their families. They exist in a vacuum, their only contact the prison guards and fellow inmates. It is a life of constant longing and broken hope. The long road to redemption. Angola's history is one of despair, but it's also one of redemption, for a few. Some men, after years of suffering, find a way to survive Angola and emerge with a sense of purpose. They find meaning in their lives through education, religious programs, or through work that helps to rebuild what they've broken. The road to redemption in Angola is never easy, and for most, it's not even possible. The system is stacked against them. But for those who do manage to find a sense of peace, it often comes after years of reflection and effort. The men who emerge from Angola having found redemption are often different from the ones who entered. They are the ones who found a way to rise above the chaos and violence, the ones who learned how to live in a place that demands everything of them. But redemption doesn't always mean freedom. For those serving life sentences, the only real redemption is spiritual, the peace of knowing they've made a difference in their own lives, even if they can't make a difference in the world. The end of the line. Angola has earned its place as one of the most feared prisons in the world. Its reputation is built on the stories of those who have been sent there and never returned the same. For some, Angola is the final stop, a place where death, both literal and metaphorical, waits. But for others, the journey continues. Some men spend decades in Angola, enduring the unimaginable and still finding ways to fight back against the system. Some men never stop trying to regain their dignity. And for a rare few, the possibility of release exists, though it is slim and far off. For most, however, the end of the line is death. Whether it comes in a cell, during a fight, or from the wear and tear of years in the prison system, Angola claims its inmates in the end. The road to freedom is long and painful, and for many, it simply never arrives. But even in death, Angola remains. It will continue to hold its grip on the men who are trapped inside, a dark place where the worst of humanity is on display. It will remain a symbol of what happens when a system is built to crush the soul. The transfer to Angola is more than just a physical relocation. It's a sentence that shapes everything about a man's life. It's a place where the walls are not the only things that imprison you, the system itself does. It's a place where survival is a constant fight, where your past is constantly thrown in your face, and where hope is something you have to fight for every single day. Angola's grip is unforgiving. For the men sent there, it's not just about staying alive. It's about finding a way to live with yourself in a place that takes everything from you. It's about holding on to the last shred of your humanity, even when it feels like the whole world is trying to strip it away. In the end, Angola is more than a prison. It's a life sentence that lasts far beyond the bars and walls. It's a place where men are forgotten by the world, but not by themselves. And for those who survive it, Angola becomes a part of them, forever. The legacy of Angola. As the years stretch on, Angola's legacy grows darker. For the men who have spent decades in its prison walls, Angola is more than just a place. It is an identity. It becomes a mark that stays with them even after they leave. The story of Angola is not just about its brutal present. It's about a history that has left deep scars. From its beginnings as a plantation to its transformation into one of the most infamous prisons in America, Angola's past shapes its present. The men who live there are products of that past, trapped in a system that never truly changes. For those who have served their time, the effects of Angola are long-lasting. The trauma doesn't just disappear when they leave. Some are lucky enough to find a new life on the outside, but for many, the journey doesn't end when they step foot outside the gates. Angola changes you in ways that can't be undone. And for those who never make it out, the prison becomes their final resting place, a place where death and decay reign. Reforms and resistance. Angola has always been a place of resistance. Over the years, there have been numerous attempts at reform, by the state, by activists, and even by the inmates themselves. Some changes have been made, but they often feel like small victories in the face of overwhelming adversity. In recent years, there have been efforts to address some of the prison's most severe issues, like solitary confinement, the conditions in which inmates are kept, and the treatment they receive from the guards. But these reforms often face resistance from within the prison system itself, from those who see the current state of things as an unchangeable reality. The resistance to change is not just about tradition, it's about power. Angola is a place where power is everything, and those who hold the power are not quick to give it up. For every reform, there is a pushback. For every attempt to improve conditions, there is an argument to keep things the same. Despite this, there are some signs of hope. Advocacy groups continue to push for change, even as Angola's walls continue to stand tall. There are efforts to shed light on the prison's darkest corners, to bring attention to the men who live in isolation, to the ones whose voices are silenced by the system. The psychological toll. Angola doesn't just break the body, it breaks the mind. The mental toll of living in such a harsh environment is unimaginable. The constant threat of violence, the crushing loneliness, and the sheer weight of hopelessness can wear down even the strongest minds. For many inmates, the psychological effects of Angola are permanent. Even if they manage to leave the prison, they often carry the scars with them. The trauma of Angola isn't something that can be easily erased. The years of isolation, the violence, and the endless struggle for survival leave deep wounds that take years to heal, if they ever heal at all. Angola is a place where mental health deteriorates quickly. The lack of access to proper psychological care, the pressure to conform to a violent culture, and the emotional strain of being isolated from the outside world create an environment where it is easy to lose yourself. In Angola, there is no room for weakness, and mental illness is often treated with disdain. Inmates who struggle with their mental health are left to suffer in silence, sometimes in solitary confinement, where the isolation only deepens their suffering. A glimpse of freedom. There are moments in Angola, rare, fleeting moments, when freedom feels just a little bit closer. Some men find brief respite in education programs, religious services, or other activities that allow them to escape, even for a moment, the brutality of their surroundings. Some inmates spend years working toward their release, hoping that their time will be reduced, that they'll be given a second chance. But for most, the path to freedom is blocked. Angola is built to hold its inmates forever. The odds of getting out are slim, and for those serving life sentences, the chances of ever seeing the outside world again are almost non-existent. And yet, there are those who hold on to hope. They write letters, make plans, and dream of life beyond the bars. They keep a part of themselves alive, even in the darkest of places. For those few who do manage to leave Angola, their return to society is often a struggle. After spending decades in one of the most brutal prisons in the world, reintegrating into the outside world can seem impossible. But for those who have made it out, Angola never truly leaves them. Angola's enduring grip. Even as the years go by and reforms are discussed, Angola's grip remains. The prison continues to operate as one of the most feared and notorious institutions in America, its legacy built on decades of pain, violence, and suffering. For those who have been sent to Angola, the scars are both physical and mental. Even if they are fortunate enough to be released, the memory of Angola will stay with them for the rest of their lives. The lessons learned in this hellish place are not ones that can be forgotten easily. Inmates leave Angola changed. They leave with the weight of their experiences pressing down on them, knowing that they will never fully escape the shadow of the prison. Even when they walk out the door, they know that Angola will always be with them. The final word. Angola is not just a prison, it is a symbol of a broken system. It represents the darkest parts of the American prison industrial complex, where violence, isolation, and hopelessness reign. For the men sent there, Angola is a place where they are more than just inmates, they are forgotten. The system that created Angola continues to perpetuate a cycle of suffering. For the men trapped inside, there is no way out, no way to escape the horrors that define this place. They live in the shadows, their lives defined by the brutality of the system that holds them captive. But Angola's story is not just one of darkness. It is also one of resilience. The men who survive Angola's brutal conditions are proof that even in the darkest corners of the prison system, there is a spark of human strength that cannot be extinguished. Angola may never change, but the men who live there, who survive there, carry with them the stories of what it means to endure, to fight, and to never give up. The final reality of Angola. As the gates of Angola close behind them, those who leave carry more than just the weight of their past. They carry the haunting memories of a place that never truly lets anyone go. The brutality, the isolation, the constant struggle for survival, it all becomes a part of them. And for those who don't leave, the story of Angola continues, an unbroken cycle of pain, despair, and broken lives. But even in the darkness of Angola, there are moments of light, moments of human resilience, of strength in the face of the unimaginable. The men who endure Angola's torment don't just survive, they learn, they adapt, and they rise above, even when the system seems designed to crush them. In the end, Angola is more than a prison, it's a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even in the harshest of conditions. For the men who are sent to Angola, it's not just about doing time, it's about holding on to whatever piece of themselves they can. Because in a place that takes everything, finding a way to keep a part of yourself alive is the ultimate act of defiance. Angola may be a place where freedom is a distant dream, but within its walls, the will to survive remains stronger than ever. And no matter how deep the prison's grip, the story of those who live, and sometimes die, inside it, will never be forgotten. This is Angola, the place where time stands still, but the human spirit never does.